Good evening, everyone, and thank you for inviting me. So today I'm going to talk a bit about some sort of a research project that we did. So it has nothing to do with Nippon, unfortunately, sorry. And it has nothing to do with my practice either. So the title will be Yesterday's States of Housing. And basically, just a rough, overview. I just started my own practice, which is a sole proprietor. And also I spearhead a think tank called MDRXA. So I've been working under the banner of MDRXA for 6 to 7 years. So in this sort of relationship between these two is to somehow bridge the gap between research and commission work. And in the middle, there will be the blurred line of practice and academia. So as you can see there in the bottom, it is actually part 2 of the talk. So since I have only 20 minutes, I've decided to cut the part 1. So, but don't worry, it's not related. So last year, we have sort of a research exercise called House Vision Malaysia. Okay, basically, it is talking about the relationship between house in the future to people and also cities. And we are actually part of the research team that somehow developed the research framework for other architects. So we are actually in the committee, not the participant. But as you can see, it's a pro bono work. There's a lot of work to do, and there will be no pay. Slowly, from 40 architects, they are slowly phasing out as the meeting goes on, and at the end, we are forced to become one of the participants among other people. So this is sort of the committee that runs the program, and this is sort of the basic framework that we establish for other architects to work on. The basic is, the scale is up here, house to city, house to neighborhood, house to house, and then also the characteristic of those things. And this is some of the a possible research topic. So we did internal reviews, creates, and eventually we presented to public, I think, last June. I'm not so sure, I can't remember because it's a bit too long already. So in our proposal, MDRXA per se, in the beginning, I didn't have any topic because we sort of like a ad hoc participant. So I just scroll around Google Earth, then I noticed that there is sort of like a informal definition of what Klang or Greater Klang Valley is. And if you look at it, compared to the municipality of, what do you call it, PBTs or Majlis Tempatan, it has different definition. But nevertheless, in between those fringe, there is sort of a development gap whereby more and more new development actually happen here. If you're not that familiar, this is Semenye, Nilai, and sort of like skipping a whole belt of land. And then the next question is why? It is because it is a Malay reserve land. That's why. So the problem is it has low land value, and the most important issue is ownership issues, has poor infrastructure, and a lack of knowledge of the land proprietor, and then challenging terrain. If you look at this is Hulu Langat. I'm not so sure if you're familiar with that. Okay, Bukit Dama down here, and then Sungai Merap. This is all very hilly terrain. Okay, and I'm not an expert in land matters per se, but in short, it is a scheme started by the British, and we have this state enactment to alienate this land or zone this land as Malay reserve land. So the problem is that usually it is sort of like in the fringe of the rural area, but now in 2015. The land has been encroached with more and more development and infrastructure. Hence, in this particular exercise, House Vision Malaysia, we try to think of what could happen to this land if this encroachment continues. So to begin our investigation, we have made a self-made classification of land. First is pure agricultural land with real estate. I know the subject's a bit boring because the fun part is the first part. I'm so sorry. So the second one will be a residential on an agricultural land. The third one is residential on agricultural land, but more residential than agriculture plantation. Tier number 4 is where, for the students out there, kebenaran merancang or development order has been issued. I know it's a bit technical, that's a problem. I didn't know the crowd or the audience early on, I'm so sorry. And then eventually the housing estate. So a typical outlook of that particular land in Tier 1 will look something like this. Palm oil plantation, and in this particular case in Bukit Dama. And then again, some plantation house with the owner's mansion with plantation typically will look like this, which is, you have a lot of plantation at the back, and then some quarters for the workers, and then the plantation owner. And then this is a bit more informal house development where we call it Lot Lidi, or the one that without a title. It's one title, but they somehow managed to, segmentize the land into multiple lots, and they built house. So basically, this is, again, if this is not a submitted development. So it looks like this. The next one is clear-cut bungalow lots, a lot been cut into bungalow lots, and eventually people build individual bungalows on it. And the last one, the land proprietor maybe JV with a developer to make a housing estate. So in this particular case, if you look at the ownership, or rather the land category, which is, this is agriculture, this is the definition under National Land Code basically. This is agricultural land, 1, 2, 3. Tier 1 to 3 is under agricultural land. Tier 4 and 5 is under building. And then this has no individual ownership. It's a collective ownership. There will be only one title. And then this particular case has individual ownership, free of planning regulation because they don't even submit. And this one have to adhere to planning regulation. And by using color codes, okay, just to make things easier because the diagram keep quite complicated per se. So we go down to each particular area of interest. In this particular case, Bukit Dama, just to get an idea how far is it from infrastructure and rapid urbanization. It's not that far. It's like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes away. This is Cyberjaya, Putrajaya, and then there's highways, and then they are building another one, Max 2, that somehow connect KL to KLIA. So you're going to pass through Bukit Dama here. So this already has, so Max 2 going to be here. So you're going to be like 3 highways running through this spot of Malay Reserve land here already. And you can see that it is rapidly developed here, Cyber South City here. So that's why I said the development here will somehow rather skip this band and just straight go here and straight down to KLIA. And this is sort of a petri dish looking at one particular spot. And if we apply those tiering category, we look something like this. I'm going to go very fast, got to have time. So Jalan Kebun, the same exercise, a lot of highways around, but there's tons and tons of housing which is not been submitted. So this is all built on agricultural land. So it looks like this. And then Sungai Pusu, Sungai Merap, it looks like that. It's a little bit segmented, sort of like broken fabric, Pai Jaras. So basically it's the same thing, but in different places lah. Okay? So as you can see, there's a lot of development going on. There is already MRT, and this is MRT line 1, and then this is basically in the vicinity of Sungai Buloh. And we can see that there's a lot of highways running through the land. But again, even though it is surrounded with development, it still looks like this. Just in case you have question about Kampung Baru is not part of Malay Reserve land. They are under different regulation. Okay, just in case. So this is how it looks like. submitted development is only like, I don't know, maybe few acres only out of everything. So even though this place is rather disorganized, but it actually has certain characteristic, okay, in Bukit Dama is rather nicely planned because most of the land is meant to be bungalow lots. Okay, stringent, I'm not so sure where it is, I also forget already, but you can see that there's different characteristics. So according to National Land Code, if you want to build dwelling on agricultural land, it can only occupy 20% of that particular land, and the land must be 1 acre and above. But as you can see from this exercise, people don't really care about regulation, so people just build anyway to the fullest. As you can see from Paya Jaras here, basically the green spot is like very scarce. So it puts the land into the state of limbo, meaning that there is a collective ownership, or there is an argument who actually own the thing, and it prohibits it to be, getting into one owner and get developed. So why don't we just like go with that? So looking at the regulation, they say that it's okay to have farming structures. So let's just exploit that of thinking it could be stratified. Stratified is sort of like apartment-ish ownership. That's the simplest term that I can explain now. Basically, ownership on particular parcel. Okay, so it could look something like this, where the house will still be 20%, and then other farming apparatus could be 80%. So again, this is like a research exercise for 20 years from now. So bear with me. So this is sort of the potential agriculture ring, because there is a confusion about industrialized farming versus farming industry. So it's like, I'm not so sure if it should be classified as industry or agriculture. So basically, we try to do this to connect with others' proposals. So basically, there will be some other architect propose something here, there, and whatnot. So we try to become the ring, or sort of like the belt that connects every vision together. So this is what's happening now, low density and compact urban fabric. So it looks like this. Okay, this is like 3 to 2 stories building. To hybrid them and densify them with more farming activity. So you can see that this is all green stuff going on here. Yeah, like I mentioned, is trying to connect other visions. So in this particular simulation, this is like a real simulation that's happening in my own family. So my grandfather have a 3 acres land that he bought with his friends lah. So they put their 3 names together there. But obviously, they are no longer here. So my grandfather owns 50% of that 3 acres land. The other 2 chaps own 25 each. The problem is that the land title is what we call it partition. So it's been written that way lah. 1/4, 1/4, 1/2, something like that. And then my grandfather have 9 children plus a wife. And the other 2 chap also have multiple children and wife. Bear in mind, this is like 30 years ago, I think, or 40. So it's quite common for them to have a lot of child. So after they pass away, we have this Islamic ownership sort of law called Faraid. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it. So it has broken down each member of the family, including the spouse, into a certain percentage. To cut it short, the guy will get 2 parts, the woman will get 1 part. It's not like going to be an equal division, so that makes things even harder. I already simplified the situation lah. Basically, my first and second uncle is already passed away, so it goes down to their children, which consists of another 9 people. So just imagine from this, how much? 1/12. Oh, it's not clear lah. It's been divided again to respective gender of these nine 9 sons and daughters, okay? So if we just illustrate this, aunties and my mom included, it we're going to look like this. One person going to own around, I think 13% or something percent, but very low, which you can't do anything. So in sort of this hypothetical simulation, which already happening also in real life, some of them are already giving up their ownership or their claims, so they get paid in cash. So the idea is to establish an investment holding company so that there will be only one proprietor in the title, despite the change of directors. So they can have those minute percentage as a director in a shareholding company. So after that, we can just start, I guess, thinking about housing plots, universal infrastructure, stratified agriculture, and other supporting agriculture activities to create more value, like aquaponic and stuff. We have a solitary research on urban farming, but I guess I cannot cover everything in 20 minutes, so maybe next time. So, yeah. So, as the law says, it could happen like this only if the land is being used for agricultural activities. It means that to stay here legally, you have to be a farmer. So that's sort of like the twist. So even though you thought that, oh, okay, I'm going to live like nearby Putrajaya and why not, high-speed rail to Singapore and why not, but you have to legally be a farmer to stay there because you are living in the farming quarters or something like that. Yeah. So, and because of the, not duality lah, but the ambiguity of it, you can apply a lot of things. You can apply for business loan because it's also a business. You can apply for mortgage loan, of course, personal loan, and etc. Could be used to finance the endeavor. So basically, if you combine all the layers, you're going to look like this mesh. So just after this, just series of illustration. How does it look like? How it could look like? So you can see that there's a lot of farming going on because it has to be 80%. Basically, we have another simulation to show how it grows from the ground up. But yeah, I don't bring my own computer here, so sorry. So we also have this housing fabrication workshop, and then of course, why not your own rail, right? When everything has been combined, why not? And then yeah, basically stuff lah, cranes and to move goods downstairs. The basic economic of urban farming is fairly simple. If you have a building that could be rented 4 ringgit per square feet, you just need to farm 4 ringgit worth of veggie on that particular square feet. And you can rent a building as good as any office building. But of course, I'm not talking about grade A office in KLCC lah, because you don't have those amenities, you don't need those air conditioning, you don't even need like 4 meter slab each interval. So you can have higher, interval slab, and then you can have less finishing and whatnot. So the key is to really to produce 4 ringgit worth of veggie per square feet. Then actually you are golden lah, basically. I think it's, and observation deck. Of course this is a little kingdom, so there will be emperor and empress, just to keep things interesting, and dwelling units and connecting corridors. I think you get the idea lah. And the whole thing in that 3-acre plot that my grandfather bought in, I don't know lah, 1992 or something. So it might look like this. I think that's it. Thank you for your attention.